Metal Mule. Engineered to be different.
Hi, I'm Wendy Peters. I'm a retired GP, but for the past 5 or 6 years I've been working as a tour medic in the Himalayas. I retired 7 years ago, so I have been riding bits around the world, and I've just got back from a 6-week tour around the Black Sea. My father had a garage and a petrol station and a shop and a post office, and I had two sisters who were not interested at all, so I was always the one that had to help when he bled brakes or whatever, but I was the one that drove everything that came in the garage. And because it was North Wales, there was no transport, so on my 16th birthday I was on a scooter. I had a break when I was married. I had a scooter. I was a mod. I had the Parker, and the scooter I bought was from a little old lady with a big screen. I had the white cork helmet, and I took the screen off, and I had a little fly screen. I had wraparound bars. I had mirrors. Because my father had them. I just took them off all the cars. I sold that, and I bought a scooter with chrome bubbles. I sold that, and I bought a Jawa 350. Sold that, and that spontaneously combusted. I went to London, and I bought a Triumph 3TA when I was at university, and I used to ride up and down from London to North Wales on that. And then I had a car, I got married, and I didn't ride for 30 years. I had sort of too much responsibility when I was married. I had the children, I had the job, and I remember I did actually have the bike. The bike was in the garage, and his bike was in the garage for 30 years, and I sold it for 5 times the amount I paid for it. But I always sort of wanted a bike back. Always. No. My grandmother was Manx. So the first picture of me travelling is my mum holding me on a British Overseas Airways aircraft, stepping off the steps in Ronaldsway, because we used to go to the Isle of Man every year. She used to fly there. Had an uncle had a shoe shop, so we used to get new shoes every year there. And she was TT mad, my mum. She was born in Liverpool, and they always used to go for the TT. So yeah, the first film I ever saw was George Formby at the TT races. That was the first film I ever saw. Today I'm riding a CCM SR, but I've also got a Kawasaki KLX 250, which is about to go and get repaired, and I've got a BMW F800R Sport that I bought this year. I was in a field hospital. I was a major in a field hospital. I did that for 5 years, and I did a sergeant major favour, and one day he rang me up and he said, "Do you want to go to Sicily?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd like to go to Sicily." And I was the tour medic for the British Legion. And for 15 years after that, I used to take a week off, and we would visit battlefields, cemeteries all over Europe, Libya, Tunisia, Yemen, Israel, Burma. I did a 3-week stint in Burma. That was a long time ago. So yes, I've always liked to travel. Best riding, but everybody asks that. I always say the one I'm doing now. Best riding, most amazing riding. I think it's got to be Alaska, Alaskan Highway. I think it's got to be that. Just the sheer, or maybe Iceland actually. Iceland, just amazing. It's the wilderness and the freedom really, and crossing the states is fantastic. But you know, at times it's pretty boring. It's thinking time. When it's boring, you think, and when it's not, you're looking around and hoping that you don't. Yes, you don't look around too much. The worst times are, I've travelled on my own around India a few times, and I've just travelled on my own coming back, but through Europe I always met somebody, I always spoke to somebody. In India, you have your moments when you're on your own, and sometimes, okay, it can be lonely and even maybe unhappy, but people mix up loneliness and unhappiness, I think, or loneliness and being alone. They mix it up. I think when I broke down in a place called Chandigarh, and I was on my own, and I couldn't speak Hindi, and yes, I suppose that was a low moment. But I had a phone, and I rang up a mechanic who could speak Hindi, who spoke to these guys, who got me in a truck and drove me 300 miles back to where the bike came from, and then I came back again. So yeah, no, I think what it's taught me is, however bad things are, you can get them fixed. Somebody will help you. Or actually in India you have to help yourself. I hit a young lad on a bicycle. He pulled out right in front of me on a motorway, going into Delhi. And the motorway, there's cows, there's people on it, it's everything. And I dropped the bike, but I realised I had to get out there because a big crowd, nasty crowd, got around me. You've got to help yourself then. I'm pretty old now. I'm retired. I'm 66. So I've had my share of negative moments. I've had my share of really negative moments. I don't go there. I go to somewhere. I go to a better place. I move on, and I forget it. I forget the bad bits, and I remember the good bits. Next is I worked with a company, and my boss now works for another company called. And I'm going to Laos. I'm going to Thailand in December. I don't like the winters in the UK. I'm not particularly fond of Christmas either now. So I'm spending a month in Thailand. Of that, I've got a 2-week off-road riding around Laos. I'm on Facebook. If they type in Wendy Peters Gosport, they'll see a picture of me and it says Wendy Peters Tour Medic. And I post most of my trips. I post something on there, really to let people know where I am. Yeah, they should find enough. I did a trip a couple of years ago, and the guy I was with did all the blogging, and it was called Cairn, Cairo, Cape Town, because he came from a little village called Cairn in Anglesey. So if you want to see that trip, that was 62 days and 9,000 miles from. He did it from Anglesey to Cape Town. I did it from Portsmouth to Cape Town.
Metal Mule. Engineered to be different.